So the great Nietzsche called it the Ubermensch versus the last man. I call it the activated versus the augmented. This tipping point, this path coming up, a fork in the road of humanity where we're going to choose one of two directions. Do we go the path of laziness, of augmentation, of using things like technology and AI to dumb down the human spirit and to dim our light for all the rewards of complacency and convenience and ease? Or do we go the other way, the way of activation? And we activate this dormant, what they call junk DNA, which in turn turns on the dark energy and dark matter of the universe, which activates us at a superhuman level to become the optimized versions of ourselves, to become what human beings can be. But that takes work. That takes going the other direction, not augmenting, not selling your soul, and not taking the easy way out. Is that the path you're going to take? Well, let's go down this path a little bit, because as I study ufology and I look at the world out there in the landscape, open my aperture and bring in all possibilities, I see the two main, let's call them beings, that are interacting with humanity that we call aliens. If you study MUFON and you look at their data, overwhelmingly, like 80% of all encounters fall in one of two camps, okay? Nordics and Greys. Now, when I look at Nordics and Greys, what do I see? I don't see aliens. I see future humans, okay? Now, go back to the Ubermensch versus last men. Go back to the augmented versus activated. When people see Greys, the gray aliens, they describe them as cold, robotic-like, harvesting, hybridizing humans to try to resurrect what they used to be, now that they're this kind of soulless, emotionless, disconnected from source beings. That's what people talk about when people are abducted by them, tested on by them, all these things, that they seem to be future humans that are coming back to try to get whatever we have at this point in our development that they don't have anymore, to try to, I think, go back to their glory days, okay? Now, when you look at the Nordics, what do people talk about? These Pleiadians, Arcturians, whatever you want to call them. I'll just say Nordics for simplicity. They usually describe them as very human, but different. They have this just spark in their eye. Beautiful skin, beautiful hair, tall, usually athletic build, perfect bodies is how they're described. Almost like these perfect human specimens, okay? They don't seem to use technology that much. They're technologically advanced. They use craft and things, but they seem to talk telepathically. They seem to, operate in this sort of spiritual, magical type world, okay? Now, are these aliens from another planet? Probably not. Why would they be here? Why would they have such a vested interest in human beings? It's a cosmic zoo out there. There's probably more interesting beings, probably a more interesting planet. But they are very infatuated with humans and Earth. Now, why would this be? I think it's because they're us. They are the two different paths. They're the Ubermensch and the last man. They're the activated and the augmented. If we go down the path of augmentation, of Neuralink, of depending on AI, and I'm not anti-AI, but it's a tool like anything. A hammer can hurt someone or build a house. It's all how you use it. But I see people using this as a way to augment the physical body to the point where they don't do anything anymore. I mean, think about, we're not that far from kids not having to learn how to write or draw or paint or compose music or anything, because you just push a button and the button does it for you, right? I mean, what is the future of that path? It's crazy. At the beginning, it's going to be magical. Anybody will be able to do anything. But then you'll lose that spark that makes us humans. And 10 years, 50 years, 100 years down the road, what are we going to look like? We're going to look a lot like the Greys. Go the other way. The activated. The Arcturians, the Pleiadians, the Nordics. What do they remind you of? They remind you of Superman, in a way. They remind you of this almost perfect heavenly angelic being. But that's what humans are capable of. That is a potential future for us. But you have to activate all of this, what they call junk DNA. You know, geneticists, they look at our DNA and they see all this dormant DNA and they call it junk. It doesn't do anything, it's junk. Scientists, materialists, they don't get it. It's not junk, it's unactivated. Okay? Then they look out at the cosmos, they look at the universe and they say, look at all that dark matter, look at all that dark energy, it's all dark. You know, we know it's there. We can detect its interaction on actual, matter, but to us it's dark. Okay, so roughly 90% or so of the universe is dark, and roughly 90% or so of our DNA is dark or dormant. What happens when you activate it? I think when you activate our DNA, it unlocks, it unveils that dark energy and dark matter in the universe. And I think activation happens a lot of different ways. I think it can be taught and homegrown. I think you can develop, you can spiritually activate yourself through like a Kundalini type of awakening and rising. I think that is probably the best way to do it. But I think your oversoul sometimes steps in and says, you know what? You're going down the wrong path, or you're not working hard enough. And it can intervene with things like UFO encounters, near-death experiences, things of this nature that tend to just sort of kickstart this activation process. Now, it doesn't do the whole thing, but it gets you started. It gets you going down the right path. Then it's up to you to keep going down that path of spiritual activation and turning on, like running through a dark house and flipping on all the light switches, just turning on all that dormant DNA. And as you flip each switch, each strand, it starts unlocking and turning on all of that dark matter and energy in the universe. Start seeing things you didn't see before. Start experiencing things you couldn't experience before. Feeling things that you never felt before because you didn't have the ability to. That's activation. And we're just the tip of the spear. I think that we have so much potential in our human spirit, human body, this vessel, to be so super. I mean, to be true Ubermensches. And that comes with spiritual activation. Or you can go the other way, augmentation. That's going to be the easy way. The whole head in the sand, ignorance is bliss, is a real thing. It's way easier to be lazy. It's way easier to do what you're told. It's way easier to go get a job and just be a mindless drone and do what you're told. It's so easy to listen to the government. It's so easy to sit at home and do nothing and call Uber Eats and have everything Amazon Prime to your door. It's so easy to take a pill to lose weight. It's so easy to do those things. But that's not what we're here. We're not here to take it easy. It's what you do in the spirit world. We're here to work. We're here to learn, to grow and evolve. And I think that as technology really kicks it up a notch, we're presented with a very dire choice. Do we go the path of the augmented, which potentially leads us to the future of the gray aliens? Or do we go the path of the activated, which potentially leads us to the future of these Arcturian, Pleiadian, heavenly angelic beings? That's just my opinion. I don't know. I am choosing activation. That's what I put most of my effort into, is developing my spiritual side and just seeing what we're capable of, period, at a natural spiritual level. I think that's what we're here to do. I'm trying to take as many people with me as possible. There is no right or wrong per se, but, I think that there are consequences to everything. And as I look out at these grays and these Nordics, I mean, it's pretty easy what choice to make. One seems to be enjoying life and helping us along. The other seems to be coming back to try to steal the essence that makes us who we are because they lost it along the way. I don't want to go that way. Let me know. What do you guys think? Have a beautiful day. Peace.